Chapter 11. Taking over the town. It's Refugee. His massive frame is clad in spiked armor, his Orcish features twisted in a snarl of pure rage. Behind him, more guards scramble to keep up, their weapons drawn. Refuge's deep voice booms across the square. Who dares spill blood in my domain? Calic takes a step forward. His eyes gleam like twin flames beneath the shadow of his hood. As he prepares to wipe out every guard, a calm voice echoes in his mind, halting him mid-stride. Don't kill the guards. Alex's voice resonates. Just Refugee. Calic's lips curl into a grin. As you wish, your majesty, he replies silently. In a blur of motion, Calic dashes toward Refugee. His speed is unnatural, almost like a ghost cutting through the air. Refugee barely has time to widen his eyes in shock before Calic is upon him. The Orc Lord raises his massive war axe, but it's futile. At his level barely 80, he might as well be standing still against the overwhelming force of a level 200 warrior. Calic's blade flashes, slicing through the air with precision and speed that defies comprehension. Refuge's axe never even meets its target. Instead, the Orc Lord stumbles back, his armor splitting cleanly down the center. A thin line of blood appears across his chest, and for a brief moment, he looks down in disbelief. No! Refugee growls, his voice faltering. This can't. The Orc Lord collapses to his knees, his body trembling. Calic steps closer, his blade resting lightly against Refuge's throat. With a swift motion, Calic's sword flashes again, and Refuge's head topples from his shoulders, rolling to a stop near the base of his fortress. His body slumps forward, lifeless. The crowd is frozen, too terrified to move or speak. Refugee, the once mighty ruler of the monster town, is dead in mere seconds. Calic steps forward. Slowly, he reaches up and pulls back his hood, revealing his face to the crowd. Gasps ripple through the assembled monsters as his true form is revealed. Grayish-green skin, sharp features, and glowing crimson eyes. The unmistakable aura of power radiates from him. A hobgoblin, a trembling lizardman mutters, his voice barely audible. It's impossible. Another monster whispers, his eyes wide with fear. No goblin has evolved into a hobgoblin in 1,000 years. The crowd is stunned, some stepping back instinctively. Stories of the last hobgoblin who terrorized the land centuries ago flood their minds. A creature so powerful it nearly brought the great city of Mizorn to its knees. Calic surveys them, his gaze cold and unyielding. Starting today, he declares, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade. I am the new lord of this town. Under my rule there will be order. The monsters exchange nervous glances, but none dare to challenge him. The memory of Refuge's swift death and the legends of hobgoblins are more than enough to silence any dissent. One of the bolder monsters, a hulking ogre, takes a hesitant step forward, his voice shaking. Lord, what will you have us do? Follow my orders, Calic replies sharply. This town will no longer operate on fear and greed. Those who work hard will prosper. The crowd murmurs in uncertainty but nods reluctantly, their instincts for survival overriding any thoughts of rebellion. In his mind, Calic hears Alex's calm voice again. Good. You've done well, Calic. Now don't trade the gold coins anymore. Reform this town. Make it a proper place, where trade thrives fairly, and gold coins flow steadily. Calic lowers his head slightly, as if bowing to an unseen presence. Yes, your majesty, he responds silently. I will carry out your will. He straightens, addressing the crowd once more. You will follow me or you will fall. Those who wish to rebuild and thrive, stay. Those who seek chaos and ruin, leave now. The monsters stand in silence, their fear gradually giving way to reluctant acceptance. Calic's crimson eyes burn brightly as he turns toward Refuge's fortress, his voice carrying an unshakable authority. This town will be reborn, starting now. Alex is back in the capital city. Alex reclines in a luxurious bathhouse within the palace. Steam rises lazily from the clear, warm water, filling the grand marble room with a comforting haze. The polished stone walls are adorned with golden engravings, and a gentle cascade of water flows from an ornate fountain into the bath. Alex sighs contentedly, leaning back against the edge of the pool. His body sinks deeper into the water, the heat easing away any tension. "This is the life," he murmurs to himself, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. Beyond the heavy wooden doors, his maids wait silently, ready to attend to any request. But for now, Alex relishes the solitude. His voice echoes faintly in the spacious room as he speaks aloud to himself. "It's good that I'll have gold coins flowing in soon, even if it's just a little for now. A steady stream is all I need to get started." His hand idly swirls the water, his expression thoughtful. Calic has done well. That town. It will thrive under his rule. And as it grows, the coins will accumulate. Slowly but surely, I will revive all my subordinates. Alex leans back against the edge of the bath, letting the warm water soothe him. His thoughts drift for a moment, a mix of plans for the future and the satisfaction of his small but steady progress. After a few more minutes, a soft knock at the door pulls him from his reverie. "Your Majesty, may we enter?" A melodic voice calls from the other side. Alex stiffens slightly, glancing at the heavy doors. He had known this moment would come, but he still feels his face heat up. Taking a deep breath, he forces himself to sit upright, trying to project the regal demeanor expected of a king. "Enter," he calls, his voice steady, though his heart beats faster than he'd like to admit. Chapter 12, Training Area. The doors open and the maids step in. They are exactly as he remembers them from the game, cute monster girls with striking features. One has long, silky hair and fox-like ears that twitch as she moves, while the other has bright scales along her arms, glinting like jewels under the soft light of the room. Both wear elegant maid uniforms tailored to their unique forms, their expressions warm but professional. Alex averts his gaze. "I really did pick the cutest ones," he thinks, berating his past self for prioritizing aesthetics over practicality when assigning roles in the game. The fox-eared maid steps forward, her tail swishing slightly behind her. "Your Majesty, we've brought fresh towels and your robes. Do you require any additional assistance?" "No, that's fine," Alex says quickly, waving a hand. After the maids leave, Alex takes a moment to collect himself before heading to his bedroom. The grand hallways of the palace are quiet, the faint glow of enchanted torches lining the walls casting a serene light. As he approaches his bedroom, he notices Drea standing by the door, her expression serious. Drea inclines her head slightly as he draws near. Her blue eyes hold a sharp focus. "Your Majesty, did you enjoy the service of your favorite maids this evening?" Alex stops in his tracks, blinking at her. "Favorite maids? When did I have favorite maids? As I recall, Your Majesty, you have often been attentive to those too. I couldn't help but notice the way you frequently stared at them." Her words hit Alex like a bolt of lightning. The realization dawns on him. It must have been back in the game. When I didn't have anything to do, I'd make my character just stare at them. Well, as a gamer, that's normal, right? Staring at sexy NPCs. Yeah, that's totally normal. Clearing his throat and forcing a regal air, Alex nods. "Oh yes, of course. I chose them for a reason. They're efficient." She places a hand over her chest and bows gracefully. "As you say, Your Majesty." Alex, feeling a bit awkward, decides to shift the topic. "Anyway, thank you for everything, Drea. You've done an excellent job organizing the palace and ensuring things run smoothly." Drea straightens and gives him a faint, proud smile. "Your Majesty, you created me. It is my purpose, my duty, and my honor to serve you. I will continue to ensure all is as you desire." Alex smiles back, feeling a bit more at ease. "I'm glad. Well, I'll be retiring for the night. Good work, as always, Drea." Drea bows once more, her voice steady. "Rest well, Your Majesty." The next morning, Alex rises early, feeling energized and ready to explore more of his palace. After a light breakfast served in his quarters, he decides it's time to visit the training grounds. As he steps into the bright morning light, he notices the expansive training area bustling with activity. Soldiers practicing their skills with weapons, spells, and hand-to-hand combat. The clang of swords, the crackle of magic, and the shouts of sparring partners fill the air. Drea appears at his side almost immediately, as if she anticipated his plans. "Your Majesty, the training ground is at its peak activity this time of day. Shall I announce your presence?" Alex shakes his head. "No need. I want to observe first. It's been a while since I've seen a live training session." Alex steps forward, taking in the scene. He watches as the kobold spars with an hobgoblin, their movements surprisingly coordinated. Nearby, a group of 50 soldiers are practicing formation drills, their discipline reminding Alex of the importance of a well-trained army. Alex's initial interest in the training quickly fades as he counts the soldiers present. Only 100 remain, a fraction of what his once mighty army was. He already knew his forces had dwindled, but seeing it firsthand strikes a bitter chord. His jaw tightens as he mutters under his breath. "Those two idiots, they really got me good." Drea, ever observant, steps closer. "Your Majesty, is something troubling you?" Alex shakes his head, his voice steady despite his frustration. "It's nothing, just thinking about how far we've fallen, and how far we need to climb back up." Drea tilts her head slightly, her tone measured. "With your leadership, Your Majesty, even 100 soldiers can become an army to rival nations." He turns abruptly, his expression firm. "I'll be in my private training area. Make sure I'm not disturbed." Drea bows. "As you command, Your Majesty." Alex strides through the palace halls, making his way to his private training area, a space only he can access. The entrance is concealed behind an unassuming wall, marked by a faint, glowing crest. He places his hand against the symbol, and the stone shifts, revealing a hidden staircase. The air changes as he descends, a mix of cool stone and faint magic lingering in the space. The room opens into a grand chamber, filled with advanced training equipment, enchanted dummies, and intricate magical arrays designed to push even the strongest warrior to their limits. Alex steps inside, his eyes scanning the area. It's exactly as he remembers it from the game. A slight smirk forms on his lips. "At least this still works perfectly," he mutters. Walking toward the center of the room, he activates one of the training dummies, its form shifting to mimic a towering armored knight. It levels a sword at him, and Alex feels a familiar rush of adrenaline. "Let's see if I know how to do this," he says, drawing his own weapon. A sleek, obsidian blade that radiates a faint crimson aura. It hums in his hand, the weight familiar yet commanding. He swings it once, testing its balance, and feels the raw power of a level 200 weapon. The training dummy adjusts instantly, its aura shifting to match his. Its level 200 designation flickers above its head, and it raises its massive sword in a defensive stance. Chapter 13. Level 200 Skills. Alex takes a deep breath, stepping into his stance. The moment feels surreal. His body moves as if it's been through years of rigorous training. Yet he knows this is his first real fight. The dummy charges first, its sword slicing downward with precision. Alex sidesteps with ease, bringing his blade up to parry the next strike. The clash reverberates through the chamber, the force sending a spark of excitement through him. "So, this is what it feels like," he mutters, his movements fluid as he blocks another attack. The dummy follows up with a sweeping strike, aiming for his legs. Alex jumps back, the instincts of a seasoned warrior guiding his every move. Without thinking, he lunges forward, delivering a series of quick slashes. Each strike lands cleanly, leaving glowing marks on the enchanted material of the dummy. "Not bad," Alex says, grinning, "for someone who technically just started." He pulls back, letting the dummy reset its stance. This time, he decides to push harder. Alex switches to offense, his blade a blur as he launches a flurry of attacks. The dummy manages to block most of them but struggles to keep up. "Impressive," he says, stepping back and lowering his blade slightly. "But I'm not done yet." Alex focuses, activating a level 200 skill. Blazing Edge. His sword ignites in crimson flames, the heat radiating through the room. With a powerful swing, he sends a wave of fire toward the dummy. The flames crash into it, forcing the dummy back as its form flickers from the impact. The dummy steadies itself, its defenses adjusting. Alex takes a moment to observe. "All right, let's try something stronger." He attempts to activate a skill well above his current level, one he remembers as being devastating in the game. He channels his energy, feeling the power surge through him, but nothing happens. "Ha!" Alex frowns, trying again. A faint glow surrounds him for a moment before dissipating entirely. A message flashes in his vision. "Skill locked. Level requirement not met." "Of course," he mutters, shaking his head. He sighs but quickly refocuses, activating another level 200 skill. Crimson Rift. The energy crackles around his blade before exploding outward in a devastating arc. The attack slams into the dummy, splitting it cleanly in half. As the pieces of the training dummy fall to the ground, Alex lowers his blade, his breathing steady. A few days later, the transformation of the town is already underway. The once chaotic streets are now filled with the sounds of construction. Hammers striking wood, stones being stacked to repair walls, and the rhythmic chants of monsters working together. Under Calic's stern but fair leadership, order has replaced the previous lawlessness. For the first time in decades, monsters of various races, goblins, orcs, kobolds, and even ogres, are cooperating. It's an unprecedented sight, and word of the town's rebirth spreads quickly across the surrounding region. Among the workers, 2 orcs haul massive wooden beams toward what will soon be a new marketplace. Among the workers, 2 orcs haul massive wooden beams toward what will soon be a new marketplace. "What do you think of the new lord?" One orc grunts, adjusting his grip on the beam. The other orc, a burly figure with a scar running down his cheek, pauses for a moment, wiping sweat from his brow. "He's strong," he says simply. "Stronger than anyone I've ever seen." "That much is obvious," the first orc replies with a chuckle. "But what about his vision? Do you really think he can turn this dump into something worth staying in?" The scarred orc's gaze shifts to the bustling activity around them. Goblins are laying stones for new roads, kobolds are crafting intricate wooden supports, and even a handful of ogres are helping to fortify the town's outer walls. It's a sight he never thought he'd see. "I think," the second orc says slowly, "if we stick with him, this town might usher in a new era, maybe even rival Mizorn City one day, just like in the legends." The first orc raises an eyebrow. "You believe in those old stories? The ones about the hobgoblin who almost toppled the Mizorn City?" The second orc smirks. "I didn't before. But seeing how he killed Refu like he was nothing, I think he might actually pull it off." Their conversation is interrupted as Calic himself strides through the worksite, his imposing figure commanding immediate attention. The monsters pause briefly, bowing their heads as he passes. "Get back to work," Calic orders, his tone sharp but not unkind. "The faster this town is rebuilt, the sooner we can secure trade routes and resources." "Yes, Lord Calic," the workers reply in unison, redoubling their efforts. As Calic continues his inspection, his crimson eyes scan the progress with satisfaction. In the Mizorn City, Doran's group returns to the Mizorn City after completing their mission. The bustling market streets are alive with the hum of merchants hawking their wares, adventurers bartering for equipment, and nobles inspecting exotic goods. Lena walks alongside the group, her eyes scanning the crowd absent-mindedly until something catches her attention. She freezes mid-step, her gaze locking onto a cage on a merchant's wagon. "Doran," she whispers, her voice filled with disbelief. "Look over there." Doran stops, turning to follow her line of sight. "Isn't that?" Lena's voice falters, her eyes narrowing as she takes a closer look. The women we handed over to Refu. Duran's brow furrows. You're right. There's no way Refu would let them go. What the hell are they doing here? The two exchange a glance before approaching the merchant standing by the cage. Duran steps forward, his tone polite but firm. Excuse me, merchant. Those two women? Can I ask where you got them? The merchant tenses, his hand immediately moving to draw a cloth over the cage, obscuring the women from view. I bought them, the merchant replies curtly. They're mine now, and I don't appreciate you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Move along. Chapter 14. A level 100 monster? Duran doesn't budge. Instead, he crosses his arms, tilting his head slightly with a knowing smirk. Oh really? He says, his voice laced with mock curiosity. As far as I know, these two women are Lord Violin's slaves. In fact, we were tasked by Lord Violin himself to deliver them to someone. The merchant stiffens, his hands twitching nervously. Duran leans in slightly, lowering his voice just enough for the merchant to hear. I wonder why they're here now in your possession. Should we ask Lord Violin about it? I'm sure he'd be very interested to hear how his property ended up back in Mizorn. The mention of Violin's name visibly shakes the merchant. His face pales, a chill running down his spine. Everyone in the city knows of Violin's cruelty and paranoia. Being on his bad side is a death sentence. And no need for that. The merchant stammers, his voice trembling. I just found them wandering outside the city gates. No owners in sight. So, as a merchant, I had to pick them up. That's all. Duran raises an eyebrow, his expression skeptical. Is that so? Yes. The merchant says quickly, his desperation evident. I didn't know they were connected to Lord Violin. Please take them. I don't want any trouble. Duran steps back, giving the merchant a long, cold stare before nodding. Smart choice. The merchant hurriedly unlocks the cage, motioning for the women to step out. They hesitate, but with Duran's reassuring nod, they climb down. You're lucky I'm in a good mood, Duran says, his tone sharp. But if I ever see you with Lord Violin's property again, I won't be so forgiving. The merchant bows repeatedly, his voice shaking. Thank you, sir. I promise it won't happen again. Duran turns to Lena and the rest of the group, gesturing for them to follow. Let's go. As they walk away, Lena leans in and whispers. That was intense. Do you think he actually believed you? Duran smirks. Doesn't matter. Violin's name is enough to scare anyone straight. The two women glance nervously at their saviors but remain silent. There. The two women glance nervously at their saviors but remain silent. Their expressions a mix of fear and gratitude. Lena sighs softly. What do we do now? We'll figure it out, Duran replies, his gaze fixed ahead. But for now we keep moving. Mizorn's a dangerous place, especially for them. The group disappears into the bustling crowd, leaving the shaken merchant behind. Later, the group secures a quiet room at an inn near the edge of Mizorn City. Duran instructs the other three members to leave, leaving only him, Lena, and the two rescued women in the room. The room is simple but clean, with a wooden table in the center and a few chairs. The women sit close together, still tense and wary. Lena moves first, grabbing a loaf of bread and some dried meat from her pack. You should eat something, Lena says softly, placing the food in front of them. The women hesitate, exchanging a glance before cautiously reaching for the bread. They eat slowly, their movements careful as if expecting the offer to be taken away. Duran leans against the wall, arms crossed, watching them silently. Lena pulls up a chair and sits across from the women, her expression kind but curious. What are your names? Lena asks gently. The first woman, a slender figure with tangled blonde hair and bruises on her wrists, looks up hesitantly. My name is Syria, she says in a voice barely above a whisper. The second woman, taller and with sharp green eyes that contrast her haggard appearance, speaks more firmly. I'm Mari. As the silence stretches in the room, Lena clears her throat, breaking the tension. Her voice is soft, almost hesitant. I know you probably hate us for what we did. Handing you over to those monsters. Mari shakes her head, her green eyes meeting Lena's. We don't, she says firmly. Though we were hoping, praying, that someone would save us. When you left, we thought it was the end for us. The things we've heard about orcs. She trails off, her voice trembling. They say being captured by them is like living in hell. Lena winces, guilt flickering across her face. What kind of slaves were you? Lena asks, changing the subject slightly, though her voice is tinged with sadness. Syria speaks this time, her voice quiet and hesitant. We worked in the mines. It was exhausting. Day and night, no rest. They didn't care if we were sick or hurt. Doran, who has been silent, finally steps forward. His voice is low but direct. How did you manage to flee from that monster? Mari's jaw tightens, and she glances at Syria before responding. We didn't flee, Mari says, her tone flat. That orc, he died. The air in the room seems to still, and both Doran and Lena stare at Mari in shock. He died, Doran repeats, his voice sharp with disbelief. Syria nods slowly, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and memory. It was chaos. Mari continues, her tone steady but her expression dark. He got into a fight with someone, another monster. I don't know who or what it was, but they killed him. Slice him apart like he was nothing. We were chained nearby, but when the orc went down, we saw a chance and took it. We broke free and ran. Lena leans forward, her brows furrowed in concern. Do you know who or what killed him? Could it have been another orc? Mari shakes her head. I don't think so. Whatever it was, it moved too fast, faster than any orc. And it's wearing a robe, so we can't even tell what it looks like. Doran exhales deeply, his eyes narrowing as he processes the information. Something strong enough to take out a level 80 orc. Doran's thoughts race as he leans against the wall, arms crossed. A level 100 monster? The only creatures capable of taking down a level 80 orc easily would be level 100 or higher. Chapter 15. Special Book. His gaze shifts back to Mari and Syria, who are both visibly shaken, though their relief at being away from that monster is evident. Lena breaks the silence, her voice low but curious. Doran, what are you thinking? Do you think it could have been a level 100 monster? Doran doesn't answer immediately, his expression unreadable. Finally, he says, it's possible. Something that can move faster than an orc and slice through one like it's nothing isn't ordinary. If it was level 100 or higher, that explains the speed and power. Lena's face pales at his words. She leans forward, gripping the edge of the table. If this is true, isn't this really bad? The last time a level 100+ monster emerged, the city almost got destroyed. If another city hadn't sent someone strong enough to kill it, who knows what would have happened? Doran nods slowly, his eyes narrowing. I've heard stories about that. A hobgoblin, wasn't it? An evolved form of a regular goblin. They said it tore through the city like a storm, faster and smarter than anyone expected. Mari and Syria exchange uneasy glances, the tension in the room thickening. What if that thing, whatever killed the orc, is even worse than the hobgoblin? Lena asks, her voice trembling. Lena sighs, running a hand through her hair. Then staying here in Mizorn is a death sentence. It's only a matter of time before it causes havoc. We need to decide what to do, and fast. Mizorn isn't equipped to handle something that powerful. If we stay, we're putting ourselves at risk. Seria hesitatis. Can we come in with you? Doran looks at Syria, his expression softening as he leans against the wall. He crosses his arms, his voice calm but resolute. Of course. We can't leave you here, he says firmly. After all, what happened to you is our fault. Mari's eyes widen in surprise. Your fault? You didn't enslave us. You didn't. Doran interrupts her with a shake of his head. We handed you over to that monster, even if it was temporary. Whatever happened after that, we have to take some responsibility. Leaving you here would make us no better than him. Syria's hands tremble slightly as she clutches the edge of her chair. "Thank you," she whispers, her voice filled with gratitude. We didn't expect this. We thought we were on our own." Mari exhales, her composure faltering for the first time. "I don't know how we can repay you, but we'll do whatever we can to help." Alex steps back, wiping the sweat from his brow. The training room is quiet now, save for the faint hum of dissipating energy. He sheathes his blade, glancing at the glowing marks left on the floor from his final strike. "Not bad," he says to himself, a small smile tugging at his lips. He takes a moment to gather his thoughts before deciding on his next move. The system's integration feature was clear. To bring monsters into his fold and make them part of his kingdom, they needed to willingly write their names in the special book bound to the system. And for that, he'd need Calic's help. "Time to head back to the town," Alex mutters, stepping out of the training room. After a few minutes of walking, Alex arrives at the town, his royal guard, a lizard man in disguise as a regular monster, following closely behind. The transformation before him takes him by surprise. In just a few days, the once chaotic settlement had turned into a thriving hub of activity. The streets were cleaner, the buildings sturdier, and the monsters more organized than he'd ever seen before. Alex mutters under his breath. In just a few days, they've really made this place better. Soon, they reached the modest but well-kept building where Calic resides. Alex had contacted him earlier through a communication item since the system's telepathy didn't work over long distances. When Calic learned of Alex's impending arrival, he insisted on preparing a grand welcome, but Alex rejected the idea. As Alex approaches the building, he sees Calic waiting outside. True to form, Calic kneels as soon as Alex steps within view. "Welcome, Your Majesty," Calic says, his deep voice carrying respect and a touch of pride. "Do you have any orders for me?" Alex steps forward, raising a hand. "Rise, Calic. There's no need for formalities right now. Let's talk inside." Calic nods, rising to his full height, and gestures for Alex to follow him inside. Inside, Calic pulls out a chair for Alex before taking a seat across from him, his crimson eyes gleaming with anticipation. "What brings you here, Your Majesty?" Alex pulls out a neatly folded piece of paper and places it on the table. "I need your help with this," he says, pushing the book toward Calic. Alex sits across from Calic, the book resting on the table between them. He looks at the hobgoblin, his expression serious yet calm. "Calic, I need you to make sure that every monster in the town writes their name on this book. It's part of becoming a real, permanent citizen of the town. Without this, they won't be considered part of my kingdom." Calic said, "It's easy enough, Your Majesty. I can gather them and get this done. But, is there anything else you need me to do while I'm at it?" Alex shakes his head, his voice steady. "No, that's all. Just get them to write their names, and the process will be complete. I'll be waiting here when you return." Calic's heart swells with excitement. As a regular guard, he never imagined he would have the chance to speak directly with His Majesty. In the game, anyone who was part of Alex's kingdom viewed him as a god, a being of immense power. And now, here in the real world, nothing has changed. To be trusted with such an important task, it feels like a dream come true for Calic. Alex watches as Calic exits, filled with determination. For Calic, it's a day he'll never forget. A day he's no longer just a guard. Chapter 16, The Three Kingdoms. A few minutes later, the door opens, and Calic strides back in, his chest puffed with pride. His crimson eyes gleam with excitement as he holds the book close to his chest. "It's done, Your Majesty," Calic announces, standing straight. 300 monsters have written their names in the book." Alex said, 300 already? That's a good turnout. You've done well, Calic." Calic bows deeply, his voice steady but filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It's an honor to serve you." Alex stands and walks over to him, taking the book for a moment to inspect it. The system's interface overlays the names, marking them as officially registered citizens. He smiles faintly, satisfied with the progress. "Well done." Alex says, handing the book back. I'll leave this with you. If anyone else decides to write their name, let them. The more citizens we have, the stronger the kingdom will become. Calic grips the book tightly, nodding with determination. Understood, Your Majesty. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Alex replies. He places a reassuring hand on Calic's shoulder before turning to leave. I'll return to the palace. Keep up the good work. Yes, Your Majesty, Calic says, watching in awe as Alex departs. Back at the palace, Alex sits on his throne in the grand yet quiet throne room. His eyes flicker as he pulls up his status screen, the glowing interface only visible to him. The numbers bring a small smile to his face. Citizen count, 400. Next level unlock. Need 500 citizens. Current level 200. Just 100 more, he mutters, leaning back. And I'll reach level 300. Still a long way to go to max out at 1,000, but progress is progress. He closes the screen, resting his chin on his hand. It's a slow process, but seeing the numbers grow, it's worth it. As Alex studies his status screen, the faintest ripple of movement in the shadows of the throne room catches his attention. A figure emerges, cloaked in darkness, their presence silent but commanding. One of the shadows kneels before him. Your Majesty, the figure says, their voice low and steady. I am here to report. Alex leans forward on his throne. Go ahead. The shadow doesn't lift their head as they begin. After your orders to tail the humans, Your Majesty, we followed their trail to a city not far from the forest. The city is called Mizorn, and it is governed by a corrupt noble named Violin. Alex's gaze sharpens slightly at the mention of the name. Violin? What do you mean by corrupt? The shadow nods slightly. Reports from the city's residents indicate he exploits his position for personal gain. He levies heavy taxes on the populace, hoards resources meant for the city's defense, and turns a blind eye to criminal activities in exchange for bribes. Many in Mizorn despise him, but his authority remains unchallenged due to his ties to the kingdom. Alex rests his chin on his hand, deep in thought. And this kingdom? What did you learn about it? The shadow hesitates for a moment before continuing. The city of Mizorn is part of the kingdom of Ralthian. Ralthian is currently stable, but its borders are vulnerable. They rely heavily on smaller cities like Mizorn to act as buffer zones. However, with someone like Violin in charge, Mizorn's defenses are inadequate at best. The shadow shifts slightly, reaching into their cloak. There's more, Your Majesty. We recovered this. They present a worn but detailed map, carefully folded. It appears to be a map of the region. It may provide useful insights. Alex takes the map and unfolds it, studying it intently. His sharp eyes scan every detail, noting the locations of cities, borders, and marked landmarks. After a few moments, he leans back. There are 3 kingdoms shown on this map, he says, pointing to the territories. Ralthian here, the kingdom of Ordea to the west, and the kingdom of Valgros to the north. The shadow nods. Yes, Your Majesty. Ordea appears to be a merchant kingdom, known for trade and wealth. Valgros, however, is described as a militaristic state with strong fortifications and a focus on conquest. Alex taps the map thoughtfully. This can't be the whole map of this world. The borders feel incomplete, as if there's more beyond these kingdoms. But it's a start. He folds the map neatly and hands it back to the shadow. Take this with you and continue gathering intelligence. I want to know more about Ordea and Valgros, their rulers, their strengths, their weaknesses. Leave no detail unnoticed. The shadow bows deeply. As you command, Your Majesty. The shadow vanishes back into the darkness, leaving Alex alone in the throne room. He leans back in his seat, tapping his fingers on the armrest as he processes the information. After a moment, he lets out a low hum. He pauses, his thoughts shifting. I guess I should visit that guy in the dungeon. Alex rises from his throne, his expression sharpening with determination. His mind drifts to the powerful subordinate who has remained in confinement since their arrival in this world, a being more terrifying than any of the 5 lords under his command. "I hope he's still there," Alex mutters to himself as he strides down the grand hall of his palace. The world boss itself. The one I obtained after that chaotic raid. He recalls the event vividly. 5 million players swarming to defeat the monstrous entity, and only 20 lucky individuals managing to claim him as a drop. Alex was among them. Even now, the thought fills him with a sense of pride. This subordinate is stronger than any of the 5 lords. Alex muses, his steps echoing in the empty halls. Even with the Hellfire Edge, I'd only have a 50% chance of beating him in a one-on-one fight, Alex mutters under his breath. His steps slow as he approaches the enormous door leading to the dungeon. It towers over him, carved with intricate runes that pulse faintly with a blood-red glow. Chapter 17. Kael'thar. The air around it is heavy, oppressive, as though the door itself resents being opened. 2 gargoyle-like creatures stand motionless on either side, their glowing eyes fixed forward, waiting for a command. Alex places his hand on the door, and the runes flare brighter, recognizing their master. With a low rumble, the door begins to part, revealing a swirling crimson vortex that serves as the entrance to the dungeon. As he passes through the vortex, the scene changes entirely. The air grows dry and thick with heat, the ground beneath his feet rough and cracked like dried blood. The sky above is a haunting red, dominated by a massive, unblinking eyeball that hovers like a moon, its gaze fixed upon everything at once. It never gets less unsettling, Alex mutters, his eyes narrowing at the grotesque moon-like eyeball. It seems to pulse faintly, almost as if acknowledging his arrival. Even the sky here feels like it's watching. Ahead lies a massive fortress-like structure carved from blackened stone. Its spires twist unnaturally toward the crimson sky, and at its base stands another enormous door, this one covered in pulsating veins of dark energy. Alex strides toward it without hesitation, his boots crunching against the brittle ground. When he reaches the door, it responds to his presence, the veins retracting and the stone parting with an ear-splitting groan. Beyond the door is a massive chamber, illuminated by an eerie red light. But instead of the ominous dungeon you would expect, the scene inside is startlingly different. The chamber is lavish, almost surreal in its opulence. Plush crimson carpets cover the ground, and ornate black and gold furnishings line the walls. Chandeliers made of glowing red crystals hang from the high ceiling, casting a soft, otherworldly glow over everything. The air is filled with the faint scent of incense, rich and intoxicating. At the center of the room is an enormous, canopied bed draped in dark silks. Lounging lazily on the bed is a strikingly handsome humanoid man with long, flowing black hair that shimmers faintly like scales in the light. His eyes are a piercing gold, slitted like a predator's, and his smile is sharp and knowing. This is Kael'thar, Alex's most powerful subordinate, an ancient evil dragon currently taking his humanoid form. 2 humanoid monster maids attend to him, one feeding him grapes while the other pours crimson wine into a crystal goblet. Both are impeccably dressed in maid outfits that somehow manage to blend elegance and menace, their demonic features softened but still visible, horns curling gracefully and tails swishing idly behind them. As Alex steps deeper into the room, Kael'thar's posture shifts immediately. He rises from the bed with a fluid motion, his gold eyes locking onto Alex's. "Your Majesty," Kael'thar says, his voice filled with deep respect, almost exaggerated in its formality. He kneels before Alex, lowering his head with a dramatic flourish. "You honor me with your presence." Alex stops in his tracks, his brow furrowing slightly. He crosses his arms, watching Kael'thar with an unamused expression. "Why are you acting like you didn't sense my presence the moment I stepped into your dungeon?" he asks flatly. Kael'thar freezes, a sheepish smile tugging at his lips. His gaze flickers for a brief moment, and he straightens up, looking slightly embarrassed. "Ah, well, you see, Your Majesty, I was preoccupied," he says, his tone a bit awkward. Alex doesn't respond immediately, merely observing the dragon's discomfort. There's no real anger in his gaze. Kael'thar's willful personality is something Alex is well aware of, as it aligns perfectly with his in-game character traits. Kael'thar has always been fiercely loyal, but his lack of concern for the world and his own freedom often leads to moments like this. "It's fine," Alex says after a moment, shrugging off the slight disruption. Kael'thar lets out a small, relieved chuckle, but there's no mistaking the genuine respect he holds for Alex. He stands fully now, his imposing form towering over the smaller figure of his master. His golden eyes are filled with admiration, yet they also have that same detached look, like he doesn't much care for the world outside of Alex's influence. Alex tilts his head slightly, eyeing Kael'thar as he asks, "Do you still can't get out of the city? Even in this new world?" Kael'thar's expression shifts, a subtle frustration clouding his usually calm demeanor. "I still can't," he confirms, his tone measured but tinged with resignation. "I tried, when you were still asleep. I thought maybe if I flew high enough I could break through it. But no, an invisible barrier stops me every time, like it always has. It's frustrating, but—" He pauses, his lips curling into a half-smile. "I've grown used to it." "Well," Alex says aloud, "it's not like I ever relied on you for invasions. Defending the city suits you better." Kael'thar grins, his sharp teeth glinting faintly. "Defending is far less tedious," he says, his tone light. "Why would I want to leave this city anyway? Everything I need is here. Good wine, loyal servants, and—" He gestures lazily around the room. "This cozy little palace of mine." Alex smirks at Kael'thar's nonchalance, shaking his head slightly. "I guess I should thank the devs for making this guy like this," he thinks. Fiercely loyal yet entirely content within his boundaries, Kael'thar's personality, no matter how carefree, is perfect for his role. He stays for a few more minutes, exchanging casual remarks with the dragon, who seems in no hurry to see him go. When Alex finally rises to leave, Kael'thar gives him a playful bow. "Don't stay away too long, Your Majesty," Kael'thar says, his golden eyes glinting with mirth. "The capital can get rather dull without you." "I'll manage," Alex replies dryly before stepping back through the massive door. But instead of heading to his throne room or office, Alex veers toward the palace gates. The guards bow as he passes, their gazes filled with respect, but Alex waves them off before they can speak. He walks past the towering walls of the city as he exits the capital alone. Chapter 18. Found a cave. The air is cool and fresh, carrying the earthy scent of the surrounding wilderness. Outside the city, the landscape stretches into a vast expanse of trees and mountains, untouched and tranquil. Alex pauses to take in the scenery. "Just trees and mountains as far as the eye can see," he murmurs. He opens his inventory, scrolling through his arsenal of items. His gaze lands on a pair of shimmering black wings with intricate silver etchings, an item he hadn't used in ages. Equipping them, he feels a faint hum of energy as the wings materialize on his back. With a few experimental flaps, he takes to the sky, albeit slowly. "Guess it's a good thing I didn't scrap these," he says to himself, chuckling. "The best decision of my life to hold on to all those useless items." The wings feel different now, less of a luxury and more of a necessity. His level is locked, preventing him from using his natural ability to fly, but the items in his arsenal, once mere trophies of past exploits, are now invaluable tools in this new reality. As he soars over the forest, the morning light filters through the dense canopy below, casting shifting patterns of gold and green. The wind rushes past him, cool and invigorating. For a moment, he allows himself to enjoy the freedom of flight, the capital shrinking in the distance behind him. After a while, something catches his eye. A dark opening nestled in the side of a rocky mountain. A cave. He hovers above it, tilting his head in curiosity. "It'd be good if this is a mine or something," he muses aloud, descending toward the entrance. Landing softly on the rocky ground, Alex folds the wings back into his inventory. The cave's mouth looms before him, dark and uninviting. A faint draft carries the scent of damp stone and minerals, confirming that it does lead deeper underground. Alex stands at the entrance of the cave, staring into its shadowy depths. He crosses his arms, tapping a finger against his elbow as he thinks. "Should I go in?" he mutters, his voice echoing faintly against the rocky walls. The cool breeze from the cave brushes past him, carrying with it the faint promise of something unknown. He smirks, his crimson eyes gleaming in the dim morning light. "I'm prepared enough," he decides. "Even if there's a level 800 waiting in there, I can retreat without a scratch." His confidence isn't unfounded. Years of experience as both an adventurer and a king have sharpened his instincts. Alex takes a step forward, then pauses. A flicker of excitement rises within him, and he can't help but laugh quietly to himself. "This feels just like the old days," he murmurs. "Back when I was just a wandering adventurer, grinding levels, exploring caves, finding treasures. All before I can build a kingdom." The memory is oddly comforting, and for the first time in a while, Alex feels a genuine thrill, being out here in the wild, facing the unknown. It feels raw, unpredictable. And he likes it. Alex steps into the cave, his boots crunching softly against the uneven ground. The faint glow of his orb illuminates only a small radius around him, leaving most of the cavern shrouded in darkness. He pauses, opening his inventory and scrolling through the countless items he's amassed over his adventures. "Where is it?" he mutters, his eyes scanning quickly. "Ah, there you are." He selects an item, a small, unassuming crystal orb with intricate carvings. The moment he activates it, the orb floats out of his hand and hovers above his head. It emits a brilliant, golden light that floods the cave, banishing the shadows and making the surroundings as bright as daytime. "Much better," he says with a satisfied nod, taking a moment to admire the illuminated cavern. Streaks of minerals glint in the light, and the rough, jagged walls take on an almost otherworldly beauty. He presses onward, his steps steady and deliberate. The silence is almost unnerving. No creatures stir, no sounds echo back except the soft scuff of his boots. "Not a single enemy," Alex remarks under his breath. The cave widens as he continues, and soon, he finds himself standing at the entrance to a massive chamber. His eyes widen slightly as he takes in the sight. The walls are lined with gleaming veins of minerals, gold, silver, and even rarer metals he can't immediately identify. The floor is uneven but glittering with fragments of gems scattered like shards of glass. "Is this all minerals?" he says aloud, his voice echoing faintly in the vast chamber. He steps closer to one of the walls, running his fingers along a vein of gold embedded in the rock. This could be worth a fortune," he mutters, his lips curling into a small, incredulous smile. "If I had found a place like this back in the game, it would have been an absolute jackpot." Alex turns, letting his gaze sweep over the chamber again. "So much potential," he muses. "I could turn this into a mine for the city. The resources here would be invaluable." Suddenly, a rushing sound fills the air, echoing through the chamber like a distant waterfall. Alex freezes, his hand instinctively going to the hilt of his sword. The sound grows louder, accompanied by faint skittering noises that seem to come from every direction. "What the?" he mutters, his crimson eyes scanning the room. Then he sees it, a pile of monster bones tucked into a corner, partially hidden behind a cluster of jagged rocks. His eyes narrow. "Figures," he mutters. This place was too perfect to be unguarded. Before he can inspect further, the skittering becomes a cacophony. From the dark holes lining the walls and ceiling, spider-like beasts begin to pour out. Their black, chitinous bodies glint in the light of his floating orb, and their glowing red eyes lock onto him. 1, 2, 10, no, at least 100 of them. "Really?" Alex says, raising an eyebrow as he pulls up the system interface. He glances at their levels, around 50. Chapter 19, Arachne. A grin spreads across his face. Level 50? That's it? 100 level 50s might look intimidating, but against me, he shakes his head, drawing his sword with a smooth, deliberate motion. Even if there were 1,000 of you, it wouldn't matter, he says, his voice calm and confident. But I'll admit, it's been a while since I had a proper warm-up. Alex takes a deep breath and activates his first Tier 2 skill, Iron Vanguard. A faint silver aura surrounds him, hardening his muscles and skin. His body feels like a fortress, unyielding and indomitable. Let's start with a solid defense. Can't have you scratching my skin. The spiders screech, their limbs clattering against the stone as they charge toward him. Next, Raging Force, Alex mutters, activating the second skill. A rush of power courses through him, doubling his physical strength. His grip tightens on his sword, the weapon feeling lighter in his hands. The swarm closes in, but Alex remains calm, activating his third skill, Blinding Reflexes. His vision sharpens, and time seems to slow around him. The erratic movements of the spider monsters are now predictable, their every lunge and twitch easily tracked. A spider leaps from the ceiling, aiming straight for his back. Without even looking, Alex pivots and slices it in half midair. One down. As more of them close in, he activates his fourth skill, Endless Stamina. A wave of energy floods his body, erasing any sense of fatigue. The final skill, Titan's Grip, comes next. His sword glows faintly, and he feels its weight increase, matching his enhanced strength. Each swing now carries devastating power, capable of cleaving through multiple enemies in a single strike. The first wave of spiders reaches him, and Alex moves. His sword becomes a blur as he slices through the horde with precision and efficiency. Chitin shatters, and monsters screech as they fall, their black blood splattering the chamber floor. A spider lunges for his legs, but Alex sidesteps and brings his blade down, splitting it cleanly in two. Another tries to flank him, but with his reflexes heightened, he spins and decapitates it in one fluid motion. Damn, this is nice, he said. Though it's my first time killing something, I didn't feel anything at all. The monsters press harder, swarming from all sides. Alex leaps into the air, avoiding a coordinated attack, and slams back down with enough force to send a shockwave rippling through the ground. Several spiders are thrown back, their legs snapping under the impact. As the horde begins to thin, Alex stands tall, his aura still shimmering around him. His breathing is steady, his movements unrelenting. The last spider hesitates, its red eyes flickering as if debating whether to attack. Alex points his blade at it. Go ahead. Don't be shy. The spider screeches and charges, but Alex doesn't let it get close. With a single swing, he bisects it, the creature collapsing in a heap. The cavern falls silent, save for the distant drip of water and the faint hum of his buffs still active. Sheathing his sword, Alex looks around at the carnage. The floor is littered with monster remains, the once glimmering chamber now a battlefield. That was fun, he says, cracking his neck. Before Alex can savor his victory, a voice echoes through the chamber. You are strong. Who are you? I've never seen or heard of you. Are you a new monster king? Alex's hand instinctively moves to his sword hilt as his eyes dart toward the source of the voice. From above, descending gracefully on a thin, glistening thread of silk, a figure emerges. It's an arachne, a humanoid upper body of a woman with pale skin and long, silvery hair, seamlessly merging into the sleek, chitinous body of a spider. Her crimson eyes glow faintly in the dim light, and her body is covered in a sheen of minerals embedded in her carapace. Alex's eyes narrow as he opens the system interface, scanning her. Level 205. He mutters under his breath, his tension easing. Not a threat. He straightens, meeting her gaze. Yeah, I'm new, he says, his tone casual but laced with curiosity. I take it you're not too used to strangers wandering into your little domain? The arachne cocks her head, studying him with a mix of caution and intrigue. Strangers rarely survive the spiders, she replies, her voice smooth and calm. But you didn't just survive. You slaughtered them with ease. His gaze drifts to her body, noticing the shimmering minerals embedded across her limbs and torso. They're the same as the ones lining the cavern walls. A thought strikes him. By the way, have you been eating the ores in this cave? The Arachne's eyes narrow slightly, but she doesn't deny it. I have. These minerals are rich in mana and energy. Consuming them allows me to evolve, to become stronger. Alex crosses his arms, his crimson eyes glinting with amusement. Stronger, huh? Seems like a waste to me. All that potential, just for a little growth. The Arachne's expression darkens, her tone defensive. What would you know of my struggle? Survival in this forest demands strength. Without it, I would have been devoured long ago. Alex shrugs, his voice calm but firm. Fair enough. But I didn't come here to leave empty-handed. He gestures to the mineral-laden walls around them. This place? I've already claimed it, and I'm not about to let it be devoured by anyone else. The Arachne's eyes flash with anger, her voice rising. You are a bold one to declare ownership of what is mine. She takes a step forward, her movements deliberate and sharp. If you want this place, then you must kill me first. I will avenge my children by ending your life. The Arachne snarls, her crimson eyes glowing brighter. Without another word, she lunges at him, her clawed hands slashing through the air with deadly speed. Her movements are fluid, and the minerals embedded in her body shimmer with each strike, amplifying her strength and durability. Chapter 20, Nisara. Alex draws his sword in a blur, deflecting her attack with ease. The force of her strike reverberates through the cavern, sending small rocks tumbling from the walls. Not bad, he says, his tone almost playful. But you'll need more than flashy moves to touch me. The Arachne doesn't respond, instead spinning a thick web to anchor herself to the ceiling. She leaps back, her hands moving rapidly as she weaves the silk into sharp, spear-like projectiles. With a flick of her wrist, she sends them hurtling toward Alex. Creative, Alex mutters, activating blinding reflexes. Time seems to slow as the spears approach. He sidesteps the first, slices through the second, and lets the third shatter harmlessly against his aura. But predictable. Before she can launch another attack, Alex closes the distance between them in a single bound. His blade arcs toward her, aiming for her exposed torso. The Arachne reacts quickly, twisting her body to avoid a fatal blow. The tip of his sword grazes her chitin, leaving a deep scratch that glows faintly. The Arachne screeches in pain, stumbling back as her crimson eyes lock onto Alex. Her fear is unmistakable now, her earlier confidence crumbling. In that brief exchange, she understands the terrifying gap in their power. Alex, unfazed, adjusts his grip on his sword, his expression calm but deadly. Ready for round two? He asks, stepping forward. But before he can strike again, the Arachne raises a trembling hand, her voice breaking. Wait! I admit defeat. Please, stop! Alex halts mid-step, his sword hovering inches from his side. He blinks, confused. What? Already? We just started fighting. The Arachne lowers herself cautiously, her 8 legs folding under her as she presses her humanoid upper body closer to the ground. A gesture of submission. I underestimated you, she says, her voice shaking. You're not just strong. You're overwhelming. There's no point in continuing this fight. I can't win. Alex narrows his eyes, studying her carefully. He doesn't lower his sword. So what? You're giving up just like that? No vengeance for your kids? No desperate last stand? He tilts his head, a mocking edge creeping into his voice. That's kind of disappointing. The Arachne flinches but holds her ground. I only fought because I thought I had a chance. But now I see. You're not just another invader. You're a monster beyond anything I've encountered before. She takes a deep breath, trying to steady herself. If I continue, it will only mean my death. My children. They're already gone. Fighting for revenge won't bring them back. Alex lowers his sword slightly, his crimson eyes glinting with thought. Then, an idea strikes him, and a sly grin spreads across his face. "Fine," he says, his voice cutting through the silence. "If you admit defeat, then prove it." He gestures toward her with the tip of his blade. "Submit to me." The Arachne's crimson eyes widen in shock, her entire body going still. What?" she stammers, her voice laced with disbelief. "You heard me," Alex replies, his tone cold and commanding. He doesn't elaborate or try to persuade her. Instead, he crosses his arms and waits, his imposing aura filling the cavern. The Arachne stares at him, torn between her pride and her survival instinct. Her claws dig into the ground as she struggles with the decision. "You want me to serve you?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. The Arachne's gaze drops to the ground, her pride and anger warring against her fear and logic. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she lowers herself fully, bending her humanoid upper body forward. Her arms stretch out before her, and her spider legs fold beneath her in a deep, submissive bow. I swear my loyalty to you," she says, her voice trembling but resolute. "From this day forward, I will serve you, my master." Alex watches her kneel, satisfaction flickering in his crimson eyes. He steps closer, towering over her as she takes her oath. "That's the greatest decision you've ever made in your life," he says, his tone both confident and final. "Serve me well, and you might just live to see something greater than this cave." The Arachne looks up at him, her expression a mix of submission and lingering unease. "What do you ask of me, master?" A glimmer of satisfaction flickers in his eyes as he takes in the scene. "Before we get to business, I should probably ask." He gestures toward her with a casual wave of his hand. "What's your name?" The Arachne looks up cautiously, her crimson eyes meeting his. "My name is Nasara," she says softly. "Nasara, huh?" Alex repeats, letting the name roll off his tongue. "All right, Nasara, let's get to it. How exactly do you mine all these minerals?" Nasara straightens slightly, her confidence slowly returning now that her life is